Well, we're either doing something right or wrong.
No, I think if we were doing something wrong, there'd be more people there.
Well, we might have left the door locked. I don't know.
Right, I do have a secret council, but only a couple hours a week. Bob.
Everybody ready to go?
It's 6:58.
Okay, wait a minute. Heaven forbid we should be early.
Wait a minute.
Just let's not be late. We haven't got Rachel yet.
The computer time.
People are accustomed to us being late. I'm not sure they'd know what to do if we were early.
We could have the Zoom blackout for about 5 minutes.
Well, I learned from after our last meeting, there were only 4 people logged,
Oh,
according to one of the 4 who.
And then we didn't have any
But she
sound
sent me a
for
Merry
the first.
Christmas note. I was one
minute.
of the 4.
But your minutes.
Well, that was, I have my backup. So
Probably, I imagine, it's probably typical. Single digit people logging.
well, we're not going to get rich having our own YouTube show then.
darn.
We're going to have to,
That could have helped your retirement.
we're going to have to, yeah, we're going to have to spice things up. Everybody has to wear a funny hat next meeting.
Stand up. Funny heck, come on, you're not 2020. Mask, it's all about the mask.
Everybody's doing mass.
I have yet
We
to
need
see-
hats.
I have yet to see one of the duck bills.
Yeah, those are kind of funny. Okay, 7:00.
Are you good? Okay, please rise and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, thank you everyone for attending our meeting this evening. Kay, could you call the roll?
Harold,
Present.
Hollenbaugh,
Here?
Phipps,
Here.
Robinette,
Here.
Roland,
Here.
Zanfordino.
Okay, the minutes from our December 21st meeting were circulated prior to this meeting for your review. Do I have, or are there any additions or corrections to those? Okay, seeing none, do I have a motion to approve the minutes?
So moved.
Second.
Second.
Properly moved and seconded. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Correspondence. Okay, do we have any correspondence this evening?
Yes, from the finance director, Brian Bouchong, I have a listing of budget transfers to be made for the month of January, and those require your approval.
Okay. Do I have a motion to approve the budget transfers?
So moved.
Second.
So
Properly-
moved.
Okay. Properly moved and seconded. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Okay.
That's all I have.
All right. Thank you very much. Do we have anyone signed up for lobby visitation?
No, there's no one signed up.
Are we sure?
Well, it's out there, but nobody's, but I think nobody signed up.
Okay.
I think we have to recruit someone to speak then.
No, that's,
That would improve our ratings too.
What do you want to hear?
Okay. Introduction of new legislation.
Mr. President,
Mr. Harold.
I have a resolution honoring Neocles Leontis, member of the Council of the City of Bowling Green, Ohio.
Okay.
Mr. President,
Mr. Robinette.
from the Finance Committee, I have an ordinance providing supplemental appropriations for the current expenses and other expenditures of the City of Bowling Green, Ohio during the fiscal year beginning January 1st, 2021 and ending December 31st, 2021.
Okay. All righty. That brings us to official reports. Mr. Mayor?
Good evening, everyone. I have no report this evening. Simply wish you all a very happy New Year's. Ask you to prepare yourselves for a very busy 2021. Looking forward to a great year coming up. I think there's going to be a lot of excitement here in Bowling Green. Certainly, we have work in front of us related to challenges associated with COVID, but we're moving forward. We'll be looking forward to a number of beneficial infrastructure projects, and also continuing to pursue other administration and council goals. So look forward to working with you all in the coming year. That's all I have, unless you have any questions for me this evening.
Are there any questions for the mayor this evening?
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Municipal Administrator, Ms. Treader.
Good evening. As you'll note, again, with keeping with COVID guidelines, we only have Mr. Marsh here this evening to give report, so I could try to answer any questions you have for any of the other department heads. We do want to make note that our Human Relations Commission has tentatively scheduled a virtual Martin Luther King Jr. Day celebration, and that will take place on Monday, January 18th at 7 p.m. Those details will be forthcoming. The group is still organizing itself and getting those details there, but we wanted to let you know that will be upcoming. That completes my report, subject to your questions.
Mr. President.
Mr. Harold.
Sorry, I just wanted, since I brought it up in a meeting, to have an update on the ad hoc sustainability committee. I just want to thank you that you did provide the information in a timely manner. And so I appreciate that very much.
Sure, thanks.
Are there any questions for Ms. Treader? Okay, thank you
Thank
very
you.
much. Let's see, that brings us to City Attorney, Mr. Marsh.
I just want to know if there's anyone lower than Mr. Marsh in the pecking order. That's no report.
Well, tonight you're number 3.
That's good.
And Mike, if you look at the agenda, council committee reports is after you. So you are higher than council.
Are there any questions for Mr. Marsh? Okay, thank you very much. Which brings us to council committee reports.
Mr. President,
Mr. Harold.
this seems to be the most fitting portion of the meeting to bring this up. So I sent out an email Sunday at 1:12 a.m. To council members and members of the administration related to requesting that we give some thought and ultimately some action on updating our council committee structure. As we all know, right now we have 7 council committees, and each member of council is on exactly 3, and each member of council chairs one of those committees, and that's worked out very well for many, many decades. But I can tell you from experience, back in 1984, there was a significant change in the individuals on council, and we decided to take a look at the committees to see if there would be any need for adjustment. And that has gone on several times since then, where the city needs change and the goals change over time, as it should. And so for me, and I want to make sure that I communicate, this is separate from the ad hoc sustainability committee that was talking with Lori about. And this is different than a sustainability board, which may be created in the future. This is a council committee. And I would like council to consider, either now and or later, adding sustainability to our council committees. Now, there's a couple ways to do that. One is to have it be its own committee and then consolidate to, because we have to maintain the magic number of 7 council committees because of the number of council members and the membership. So that's an option, and I outlined it in the email. Another option would be to add it to a committee, an existing committee, which would be like maybe it'd be public utilities and sustainability. My concern is that as we are becoming more attuned to sustainability as a community, and it's something that the community wants us to be focused on, that if we don't make it in one committee, then there's a number of different aspects of sustainability that could go under the purview of different committees, and I'm afraid that it would get lost otherwise. So as was done in 1984, when the council created the Community Improvement Committee, because we saw there was a whole lot of emphasis on community improvement items, and that has served us well. I'm saying that now it would be beneficial for us to either, as I said, either have a separate sustainability committee of council or include it as part of another. And so I just want to get a gauge, just with a brief casual conversation on what kind of direction this is the pleasure of City Council.
President,
Yes, Ms. Rowland.
I would like to respond by saying that the mayor just told us we were going to have a lot of work in 2021. And I do believe he is accurate. I think that this is better handled. This issue is better handled when city council meets, as we usually do, to plan our year ahead, to set our goals. I think that would be the opportune time to discuss this. I think tonight is not the time to be discussing it here. Let us do some thinking and some research on our own and discuss this when we have our planning meeting, our annual planning meeting.
And Mr. President, I have no problem with that. I think the email has set up the basic structure of how the discussion can go and the decisions that we have to make and the options. I mean, one document, it's a little long for an email, but it has everything you need. And so if we allocate some time during our strategic planning meeting to have a discussion, that'd be great.
Okay. Yeah, I don't think that this is something that we have to take care of right now, but I think it is something that we could have an ongoing conversation about throughout the year, and possibly if enough people feel that there needs to be a change to the committee structure, that's a conversation that we could emphasize possibly in the second or third quarter of the year.
Mr. President, I would like to think that we could move faster. And part of the reason for that, I mean, I understand your rationale because things do go on a cycle, but we are in the midst of waiting for the ad hoc sustainability committee to give their recommendations, which should be relatively soon. And we do know that there are topics that, for example, composting that are coming down the pike. I want to be ready for it. I don't want to be reactive. I want to get this all set ahead of time so that we can have a structure in place to handle this. And Sandy is absolutely right. We do have quite a bit of work to do this year. And that's, to me, that's all the more reason to have this in place so that we are poised and ready to handle the workload, especially with respect to the diverse number of potential sustainability related issues. So we're just talking about timing.
Right.
Mr. President.
Yes.
And just my view is similar to yours, and I think that I'd like to hear what the ad hoc committee has to say first. I certainly don't feel well informed enough right now, but after that, I think we can probably consider ourselves as informed as we're going to be within the city, and then I'd be willing to entertain a specific proposal although I'm not inclined to, just discuss for the sake of discussion. But if we've got a proposal on the table after we've been informed by the ad hoc committee, I think that'd be a good approach.
All right, thank you very much.
Mr. President.
Any other comments on this topic at the moment?
Mr. President,
Yes.
I think-
Ms. Phipps.
I think the way I read Bill's email and then Bill's comments this evening, the ad hoc sustainability committee's work is not going to touch on this topic directly, if at all. I mean, I think it's up to council to decide where we spend our time and what our committees do. And I really like Sandy's idea of discussing this in more detail during our strategic planning session in February. Our strategic planning goals from last year, certainly emphasize sustainability. We called for a climate action plan. We called for a composting program. With the ad hoc sustainability committee's report coming, this quarter, I think there's tons of work for a standing council committee, sustainability committee, or standing council sustainability committee to do here now. And then I see a ton in the future. So I love Sandy's idea about talking more about this at our strategic planning session.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, it's not like issues that come up before council go unresolved because we don't have a properly named committee. Everything gets taken care of in time. And I'm just not sure that right now we need to be addressing changing the committee structure simply for changing the committee structure. So I'm all about having this conversation. I just don't have the same sense of urgency on it that Councilman Harold does. Are there any other comments on this topic?
Mr. President,
Yes.
I'm not going to be real helpful on the timing of when we look into Bill's suggestion. If it's at the planning meeting or as the year unfolds, I haven't really thought through yet. But I liked what Rachel was saying. I think we're a very sustainably focused group, and we have initiated things before there was an ad hoc committee, and we will do that again. This year, we initiated the composting, the climate action plan. And, I even dare say we brought up trying to ban plastic bags in town as a possible green initiative. It didn't succeed, but I think any day that we're not thinking about the environment and sustainability is kind of a poorly spent day. So, I think whenever the committee happens, it happens, but I think this issue needs to drive our work regardless.
All right, I agree. Any other comments on this?
Mr. President,
Mr. Robinette?
shifting gears, I would just like to remind everyone, and I believe this came up last meeting perhaps, but the Finance Committee will have a meeting at our 6 p.m. prior to our next council meeting, which is the Tuesday, the 19th.
Okay.
And the format will be as we've established over the last 3 quarters. This meeting being a month after the close of the last quarter of last year, we'll get a report from the finance director. And we'll keep working towards the next budget.
All right, thank you very much. Which brings me to the next topic I would like to talk about, which is council goals. It's been tradition recently that council meet early in the year to establish goals for the upcoming year. We have a number of goals that we established for this past year that are in various stages of completion. Thanks in no small part to the COVID pandemic. That being said, with this being the final year of this term on council for a number of the members, I would like to see us focus on these issues and get them resolved this year so that when we have a goal-setting meeting next year, that we'll be able to start out without having anything left on the table, ideally. Of course, things always come up that we're unaware of throughout the year. That being said, I would like some feedback from everybody. Before the next meeting, if you could email me and let me know your thoughts on whether we should work on creating new goals for this year, whether we should focus on finishing the goals that are unresolved from last year, or perhaps having a meeting that doesn't involve setting new goals, but maybe having a meeting that reviews the progress that we've made on goals from last year and discussing other topics that don't necessarily involve setting new goals for 2021. So if everyone could send me an email sometime in the next 2 weeks and let me know what your thoughts on that are before we go ahead and set up a meeting. So we know what kind of meeting it is we might be interested in having.
Mr. President, I can certainly send an email, but I can tell you what the email will be.
I would rather you just send me an.
Okay. To summarize anyway, I think that if we take parts of all three of those options, where we have a status on the progress that's been made on our goals from last year, as well as any adjustments or supplemental goals, I think that the point that you're making is we don't necessarily want to start from scratch, but we can certainly have a two-tiered system where one is, okay, these are the goals from last year, where are we at, what is their current priority, and then are there any other goals? I would hate to shut off the opportunity for discourse because we are representing the community, and so we need to have a forum where we set the goals. So I would be all in favor of a two-tiered meeting. Progress, reallocation of goals if there is any, and then addition of some goals if need be. But I certainly would not want to close off the discussion on that.
So it sounds like in fewer words, what you're saying is you're all for having a goal-setting meeting.
Yes, but your point is well taken, and that is that we do have two tiers: progress on the goals from last year, and then the possibility of adjustment to that, as well as addition of supplemental goals.
Mr. President, may I add too that, like you, I'm concerned about the pause we took in 2020. However, recall too that our restructuring of our goal setting allowed council to establish goals early in the year so that the city administration get their arms around them as they prepared the budget for the following year. Any goals that we established, as we did last year, will be on the table for possible execution in the next fiscal year, or which is our calendar year. So we are not, any goal setting session we have is not to kick off new projects or ask the administration to move in new directions during calendar year 2021. It's to throw out on the table, put out on the table for discussion and prioritization those goals that we see for the future being the 2022. So we have unresolved issues on the table. They were priorities established early in 2020 by this council. They were included in the budget. We spent a good deal of time commending the city administration for their inclusion and addressing all of those issues. There are 4 numbered issues, and they are all unresolved, and they will likely all take a great deal of effort to be completed before the end of the year, especially zoning update, gateway project, and so forth. And so there's a lot of things going on. I just bring like to remind all of my colleagues here that, again, any discussion of goal setting is to focus the effort on the next budget so that there's time for the city to get their arms around what we consider to be our priorities, not to start doing something new in 2021. Thank you.
Mr. President, if I may add briefly.
I don't know, can you?
I'm not sure. I know the moment I said that, it's like, this is going to be a challenge.
All right, go ahead.
There is, I agree with Greg, of course, and the city has made great strides in our list. It's really impressive. But there is the possibility of having goals that maybe aren't as great in stature, but do need attention. So I would not foreclose the possibility that we may come up with a goal that could be handled without much resource allocation and also in this year. And I think that prospect is something that would be, yeah, you're right, I'm not brief. That prospect is something that I think we should be aware of, and possibly it'll happen if we have the meeting. Good example is what I just talked about with Sustainability Council Committee. That would not take any effort on the city administration. It would not drain our budget at all for this year or next year. And yet it's something that would be a strategic direction for us to go. That's it.
Okay. So if everyone could please shoot me an email letting me know your thoughts on this before the next council meeting, it would be much appreciated. All right, that brings us to the reading of legislation.
Legislation for first reading. Resolution number 3786 for first reading. Resolution honoring Neocles Leontis, member of the Council of the City of Bowling Green, Ohio.
Mr. President,
Mr. Harold,
I move that we give Resolution 3786 its second and third reading.
Second.
okay, properly moved and seconded. Kay, could you call the roll?
Hollenbaugh,
Yes?
Phipps,
Yes.
Robinette,
Yes.
Roland,
Yes,
Zanfordino,
Yes.
Harold.
Yes.
Okay, the rules have been suspended for resolution 3786.
Resolution number 3786 for second and third reading. Resolution honoring Neocles Leontis, member of the Council of the City of Bowling Green, Ohio.
Mr. President,
Mr. Harold,
I move that we adopt Resolution 3786.
would you care to read the legislation
Oh, yeah,
in
I'd
its
love to.
entirety before we vote?
Don't we usually read it when they come to get it? Or you want to
Could
read
do
it
that
tonight?
too.
Okay, or you want me to read it?
You want to read it or I'll read it?
You go ahead.
Resolution honoring Neocles Leontis, member of the Council of the City of Bowling Green, Ohio. Whereas Neocles B. Leontis honorably and faithfully served the citizens of the City of Bowling Green as council member at large throughout 2020, and this council seeks posthumously to recognize his contributions as a member of council and the Bowling Green community. And whereas Dr. Leontis was a man of unique and special qualities who had many impressive accomplishments in his life, including, but not limited to, degrees from Ohio State University, Harvard Graduate School, and Yale University, and was a professor of chemistry at Bowling Green State University since 1987. And during his tenure, made significant contributions to the field of biochemistry and was a well-respected teacher and mentor who engaged his students in issues both in and beyond the classroom. Whereas it was with this impressive background, along with a commitment to serve and improve the Bowling Green community, that he was elected to this council and engaged energetically in important matters facing this legislative body and our community. And whereas Dr. Leontis shared his insight and intelligence on a variety of matters with this group and utilized his research skills to be well-informed to help educate others on various items being discussed and debated, including issues related to the quality of life and the regulation of rental properties, sustainability, and health matters related to the COVID-19 pandemic. And whereas serving as chairperson of the Council's Public Utilities Committee, was a fitting role for Dr. Leontis, as he had extensive knowledge and interest in the area, and his long-term advocacy for sustainable and responsible energy practices, and his work and commitment to the environment. From what citizens can do every day to the governance policies, were valued and respected. And whereas Dr. Leontis also served on the Transportation and Safety and Committee Improvement Committees, and actively contributed to the numerous issues encountered in our community and by this council in a tumultuous year of 2020. And whereas this council mourns Dr. Leontis's untimely death and sends sincere condolences to his many friends, students, and colleagues, and most especially to his family, including his wife Vasiliki, daughters Evangela and Natalia, and his sister Artemis. Now therefore, be it resolved by the Council of the City of Bowling Green, Ohio, Section 1, that the Council of the City of Bowling Green, on behalf of the government and the citizens of this municipality, does hereby posthumously recognize Dr. Neocles Leontis for his dedicated service, meritorious achievements, and noteworthy performance of civic duty while a member of the City Council. Section 2, that the Clerk of Council is hereby authorized and instructed to forward a duly attested, signed, and framed copy of this resolution, the family of Dr. Leontis.
Thank you, Bill. So you have moved for the
Yes.
approval?
I need a second.
Second,
Second.
Okay, properly moved and seconded. Kay?
Phipps,
Yes.
Robinette,
Yes.
Roland,
yes.
Zanfordino,
Yes.
Harold,
Yes.
Hollenbach.
Yes. Okay, resolution 3786 is adopted.
And Mr. President, I wanted to thank the administration for putting this together and putting it together so well.
Okay, thank you.
Ordinance number 8894 for first reading, ordinance providing supplemental appropriations for the current expenses and other expenditures of the City of Bowling Green, Ohio during the fiscal year beginning January 1, 2021 and ending December 31, 2021.
Mr. President,
Mr. Robinette?
I move to suspend the rules and give ordinance 8894 its second and third readings.
Second.
Second,
Okay, properly moved and seconded. Kay?
Robinette,
Yes.
Roland,
yes.
Zanfordino,
Yes.
Harold,
Yes.
Hollenbach,
Yes.
Phipps.
Yes.
Okay, the rules have been suspended for ordinance 8894.
Ordinance number 8894 for second and third reading. Ordinance providing supplemental appropriations for the current expenses and other expenditures of the City of Bowling Green, Ohio during the fiscal year beginning January 1, 2021 and ending December 31, 2021.
Mr. President,
Mr. Robinette?
I move to adopt ordinance 8894.
Second,
Properly moved and seconded. Kay?
Roland,
yes.
Zanfordino,
Yes.
Harold,
Yes.
Hollenbach.
Yes.
Phipps,
Yes.
Robinette.
Yes.
Okay, ordinance 8894 is adopted.
Legislation for second reading. Ordinance number 8891 for second reading. Ordinance authorizing the Utilities Director to apply for a loan and execute an agreement with the Ohio EPA, Ohio Water Development Authority, for water supply revolving loan account funding for the design and construction of the village subdivision water main improvements.
Mr. President.
Mr. Harold?
Lori, do you see a need to expedite this by a meeting? Yeah. Okay, thank you.
Ordinance number 8892 for second reading. Ordinance authorizing the Utilities Director to advertise a request for qualifications and enter into a contract or contracts for engineering services for the village subdivision water main improvements. Ordinance number 8893 for second reading. Ordinance authorizing the Utilities Director to advertise a request for qualifications and enter into a contract or contracts for engineering services for the West Wooster Street water and sewer improvements. Legislation for third reading. Ordinance number 8883 for third reading. Ordinance approving the addendum to the Memorandum of Understanding and Cooperative Power Supply Agreement with the Bowling Green State University.
Mr. President,
Mr. Harold.
I move that we adopt ordinance 8883.
Second.
Properly moved and seconded. Kay?
Zanfordino,
Yes.
Harold,
Yes.
Hollenbach,
Yes.
Phipps,
Yes.
Robinette,
Yes.
Roland.
yes,
Right, ordinance 8883 is adopted.
Ordinance number 8885 for third reading, ordinance authorizing the municipal administrators to sign an LPA agreement with the Ohio Department of Transportation and to advertise for bids and enter into a contract or contracts for design, engineering, right-of-way acquisition, construction, and other services relating to the resurfacing of State Route 64 in Bowling Green from Campbell Hill Road to the CSX Railroad and from North Church Street to the Bowling Green Corporation line.
Mr. President,
Mr. Harold.
I move that we adopt ordinance 8885.
second,
Properly moved and seconded. Kay?
Harold,
Yes.
Hollenbach,
Yes.
Phipps,
Yes.
Robinette,
Yes.
Roland,
yes,
Zanfordino.
Yes.
Okay. Ordinance 8885 is adopted.
Ordinance number 8886 for third reading. Ordinance amending the zoning district map of the city of Bowling Green for 2.761 acres of land located generally at the northwest corner of Thurston Avenue and East Wooster Street and including the public parking lot on Manville Avenue from S3 planned institutional and R2 single-family residential zoning to the Bowling Green Gateway zoning district.
Mr. President,
Ms. Phipps.
I move to table ordinance 8886 until February 1st, which is the date of our public hearing on this ordinance.
Okay. Do I have a second?
Second.
Okay, properly moved and seconded. Kay?
Hollenbach,
Yes.
Phipps,
Yes.
Robinette,
Yes.
Roland,
yes,
Zanfordino,
Yes.
Harold.
Yes.
Okay, ordinance 8886 is tabled until February 1st.
Ordinance number 8887 for third reading. Ordinance rezoning .14 acres located generally at 518 and 522 East Wooster Street from B5 Transitional Central Business District zoning to the Bowling Green Gateway District zoning.
Mr. President,
Ms. Phipps?
I move to table ordinance 8887 until February 1st as well.
second,
Properly moved and seconded. Kay?
Phipps,
Yes.
Robinette,
Yes.
Roland,
yes,
Zanfordino,
Yes.
Harold,
Yes.
Hollenbach.
Yes, ordinance 8887 is tabled until February 1st.
Ordinance number 8888 for third reading. Ordinance vacating an alley from Manville Avenue between Derby Avenue and 8th Street.
Mr. President,
Ms. Phipps?
I move to table ordinance 8888 until January 19th.
Second.
Okay, properly moved and seconded. Kay?
Robinette,
Yes.
Roland? Roland?
yes. I do have a question. Our agenda for tonight had this tabled until 2/1/21. Has it been moved up?
I don't know. I have it listed
Are
as,
you looking at 8878, Sandy, instead of?
Yes, I
88?
am.
Okay.
8886 and 8887, the public hearings are on February 1st, but 8888, the public hearing is on January 19th.
I was looking at the wrong one. I was looking at the one below. I
That's okay.
That's
apologize for
fine.
taking up your
Better
time.
to
Yes, I
inquire.
do vote, yes.
So you said yes, okay. Zanfordino,
Yes.
Harold,
Yes.
Hollenbach,
yes.
and Phipps.
Yes.
Okay, so ordinance 8888 is tabled until January 19th. And based on what I'm looking at, That concludes our official business. Is there any other business to come before council this evening? Okay, seeing none, do I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second.
Second,
All right, properly moved and seconded. All in favor, say aye.
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 Opposed, same sign. We are adjourned.